Welcome to I Do the Well Done, a ministry committed to supporting wives from the affirmation of I do to the preacher's confirmation of well done. It is my extreme pleasure to welcome you and to work with you and support you and to grow with you in your role as a wife. Okay, so today we're going to continue talking about the Proverbs 31 woman model for the ideal wife. And this scriptures today are going to be taken from Proverbs 31, verses 19 through 28. I am passionately calling this broadcast, Let's Give Them Something to Talk About. Let's give them something to talk about. What do you mean by that? Specifically, we're going to highlight the scripture in verse 28, and it says, her children say good things about her, and her husband brags on her. Who are they in the lesson on today? Your family. What does your family say about you? I paused to just share and highlight my mom, who's passed away now 20 years, but you know what? She made such an impression on her family, her children, and her husband that even all these years later, even though her husband's passed away, her children still sit. And when we gather around the table at Christmas and the different holidays, we still highlight and honor and just give praise to God for the example she left for us. What do your children say about you? Remember, they're watching, they're learning, and they're going to repeat what it is that you do. The Proverbs 31 woman scripture talks about how her children say good things about her and how her husband brags on her. Let's go into the scripture and see what is it that she did. Okay, so let's get started. Today's lesson is passionately called, Let's Give Them Something to Talk About. You may ask, what kind of title is that? We are taking our text from Proverbs 31, verses 18 through 28. And verse 28 specifically is going to be the focus of our lesson. And it reads, her children rise up and say good things about her, and her husband brags on her. What will your family say about you? What does your family say about you? Wives, we have a very important role because our children are watching us, and what they see they will do, and they will put into practice in their homes, in their roles as wives. So, and they will expect that. Your sons will expect what they see in you of their wives. So then we are very important to their success. So let's get it right. Let's give them something to talk about. I'm going to start with sharing, just highlighting my own mom and the example that she left for us. She was a hardworking woman, raised 11 children. Awesome, awesome, awesome. The cook, the domestic engineer, the example that she left for us as far as cleaning and taking care of her home and taking care of her children and taking care of others and doing all those things that the Proverbs 31 wife does is awesome. Today, she's been gone, transitioned on to heaven 20 years, and even today, my siblings and I, when we get together, family gatherings for the holidays, we still highlight and celebrate all that she did for 11 children and everybody else who came in need. We salute her on today, just like the Proverbs 31 woman. My mother did it. I'm aspiring to do it, and you can do it too. How, you may ask? Let's go into the text and see. Reading from Proverbs 31, verses 18 and through 28, the easy to read version. 18 reads, she works late into the night to make sure her business earns a profit. She makes her own thread and weaves her own clothes. She always gives to the poor and helps those who need it. She does not worry about her family when it snows. She has given them all good, warm clothes. She makes sheets and spreads for the beds, and she wears clothes of fine linen. Her husband is a respected member of the city council where he meets with the other leaders. She makes clothes and belts and sells them to the merchants. She is a strong person and people respect her. She looks to the future with confidence. She speaks with wisdom and teaches others to be loving and kind. She oversees the cares of her house. She is never lazy. Her children say good things about her. Her husband brags about her. You may be familiar with the saying, do as I say, not as I do. I am here to tell you that children will hear, but they record what they see. And when they record it, that's on the brain. And it is internalized, and they replicate what they see. So the saying, do as I say and not as I do, I'm sorry, it doesn't work like that. Our children, our family, others are watching what we do, and they're duplicating what they see. What do they see? A famous parent educator by the name of Dr. Dorothy Law authored a poem, Children Learn What They Live. I'm going to share that poem with you on the screen because it is very important. Yes, they hear what you say, but when they forget what you say, they will always remember what they live. So let's see what it is she says in the poem. Children learn what they live. If children live with criticism, they learn to condemn. If children live with hostility, they learn to fight. If children live with fear, they learn to be apprehensive. If children live with pity, they learn to feel sorry for themselves. If children live with ridicule, they learn to feel shy. If children live with jealousy, they learn to feel envy. If children live with shame, they learn to feel guilty. If you notice, all of those traits that the children live with breed negativity in their lives, in their development, in their emotional state, in their psychological state. So yes, what we do is very important. What we say is very important. So let's try and make sure that we are setting up a nurturing home, a nurturing environment so that we are developing awesome, stable, and positive young people. The poem continues. If children live with encouragement, they learn confidence. If children live with tolerance, they learn patience. If children live with praise, they learn appreciation. If children live with acceptance, they learn to love. If children live with approval, they learn to like themselves. If children live with recognition, they learn it is good to have a goal. We want to make a difference in our children, then we don't like what they see, what we are seeing, and how they are behaving. Let's take a look in the mirror. Let's see what we're modeling, because what we model, they will replicate. If children live with sharing, they learn generosity. If children live with honesty, they learn truthfulness. If children live with fairness, they learn justice. If children live with kindness and consideration, they learn respect. If children live with security, They learn to have faith in themselves and in those about them. If children live with friendliness, they learn the world is a nice place in which to live. Mothers, we make a huge difference. Our job is so important. Our home life, the home that we create, the nurturing environment that we prepare for our children and groom our children in is imperative that we model and that we give them the structures that we want to see in them as adults. A lot of times parents will complain, my child is doing this and my child does this and I don't like this, that, or the other. They learned it from somewhere. Let's make sure it's not from us. I have a 4-year-old now, and I tell you, I have to be very careful because everything that I do, I see him doing, from the good and the challenging. And so I'm very careful to watch how I say something because he will give it right back to me just like I said it, with the tone and everything. So parents, it is very important. If you have a teenager who might not be giving you what you want to see, let's make sure that we are giving them the correct model. Yes, they will imitate their friends, but if we give them the model and our home is the nurturing environment, they will come back to it. For those of you who have gotten it right, chime in, give us some comments on what you did and how you did it so that we too can make sure that our homes are nurturing environments for our children. Looking back at the scriptures, verses 19 through 28, we can say that the Proverbs 31 wives' children probably would say their mom was very hardworking, very creative, very industrious. She was busy about taking care of the family and making sure that they had everything that they needed. She was very conscious of their needs and anticipated their needs. She made sure that they had the clothing that they needed at the appropriate time. She made sure that they had comfortable beds, and she made sure that others had things, not just her children. She made sure that the needy were taken care of too. She must have had a heart of gold. She must have been very loving and supportive. It says here that she was a strong person and people respected her. Not just her children, but other people in the community, the neighbors, the people at the store, everywhere she went. It says that her husband was respected because of her. So I tell you, it means a lot to make sure that we have that image that portrays the godly character that he requires of us as wives. It says she speaks with wisdom and teaches others to be loving and kind, modeling and then sharing what it takes to be a nurturing woman. She oversees the care of her house, and she's not lazy. She's always busy about making sure that her home is the home of a welcoming environment, a loving environment. And I love it that it says in verse 28, her children say good things about her. So often, our children will say good things about us, and that's a salute to what we've done for them, to them, and with them. And there are times when our children don't quite understand why we do some things. And at the moment, they may give us that more critical observation or critical evaluation. But I want you to know, you just keep on doing the right thing. Keep on creating that environment. They will come back and say to you, you know what, I didn't understand it then, but I understand it now. I have a 30-year-old, and yes, I have had that experience where when we were in the moment and I was trying to train and teach, no, he did not want to receive it the way I was trying to teach him. But you know what? With consistency, with love, with discipline, and with consistency, it worked. At 29, 28, he came back and said, Mom, you know, when we were going through, when you were trying to teach me these things, I didn't understand it. And I was upset. But you know what? I get it now. And I really do appreciate all that you did and all that you tried to do to make sure that I was a success. Thank you, Mom. They will come back. Let's make sure we create that environment for them to thrive, grow, and be productive in. So here's your challenge. This slide says, what does her family see and say? I challenge you to ask your family members if you can just on a sheet of paper or you want to copy this organizer off the screen, give a copy of it to your children and even to your husband. Ask them to complete it individually. It says mommy, but you can put wife on there too. Ask them to complete the organizer individually, don't work together, and ask them to tell you what they see in you. How do they see you? You'd be surprised. They are watching all the time. After they do that, then I want you to take all of their responses and whatever they put on those 3 lines, each line is a different comment. So it could be mom is helpful, mom is loving, mom is patient, mom is hardworking, mom is impatient, mom is focused, whatever they say. Take it because you take the truth of what they say and then use that as your report card to either validate or an opportunity to grow. Let's see what they have to say. All right, it's a simple observation from those who you love the most. They will be honest with you. They will share their true feelings with you. And on this next slide, here's just an acrostic of what some things, some comments or some character traits that may have been shared. And I hope that you did do the activity because it is rewarding to hear what they feel and what they see and how they feel. So they may have said mom is beautiful and loving and compassionate and wonderful. She's my hero. She's strong. She's courageous. She's gregarious. She's generous. Mom is thoughtful and wise and patient. Mom is careful. Mom is creative. She's independent. She's caring. She's funny. She is bubbly. She's a handful. She's a healer. She's influential. She's amazing. She's persistent. She's a role model. She's an intellectual. She's capable. She's a volunteer. She's strong-minded. She's emotional. She's self-motivated. She's powerful. Whatever they say, take it. Pat yourself on the back. And on those hard days, you can go back and say, you know what? I'm giving them something to talk about, and it's good. And on some days, you may have to go back and say, okay, I see that they're doing this. Let me see if that's reflective of what I'm doing. And am I portraying that image and they are replicating what I've done and what I do? All this is an opportunity to validate what you're doing right and an opportunity to shine even brighter by adjusting or tweaking just a little bit what you may need to do in order to help our children grow into positive adults that we would like for them to be. Believe it or not, just as it works on your children, it does work with husbands too, because you know what? They are reactive. However we address them, they will address us in the same vein. So we want to make sure that we are loving and supportive and patient with them as well. I have been a wife. I am a mother. I'm a wife now. I am a mom now. I was a teacher for 20 plus years and school administrator, and I've yet to see it fail. We have, as wives and mothers, the power to change the world. There's a saying that says, "The hand that rocks the cradle rules the world." That is very, very, very true. And we, as wives and mothers, have the power to change the world, one child at a time. Remember, what we do is so important. What they see is even more important because they are recording what they see. And what they see, they will do. Please, let's keep the main role model our main role. Excuse me, let's keep the main role our main role. We are their role model. So let's make sure that we're giving them something to talk about. The world awaits. What are we doing about it? If this is blessing you, please remember, like, share, and subscribe.